There are some qualities that all of us can develop to be happy, positive, and successful. These are called as spiritual qualities, as listed out in the Bhagavad Gita. These Deva qualities, or the spiritual or positive or divine qualities, not just help us in our spiritual progress, but also help us in our day-to-day life, in the transactions that we do with people, in the interactions we have with others. These qualities help us to become a source of goodness for the world and not just for ourselves. What are these qualities? The first of them, the Gita illustrates, is Abhaya, or fearlessness. Why is fearlessness the first quality? Because unless we are fearless, we may find it very difficult to even develop the other qualities. Fearlessness is also that strength to be able to put up with life. Fearlessness is the ability to face all adversity. Fearlessness is that ability to stand still when the whole world around us starts collapsing. Our own world starts collapsing. When we are then able to stand firm, that is fearlessness. And why do we need this fearlessness? Because unless we are fearless, we cannot be positive. We cannot be successful in anything that we do. Fearlessness is important even to be able to give our affection and friendship to others. Fearlessness is necessary in order to be able to pursue a path, to be loyal to our own progress, to be committed to our own well-being. Fearlessness is that quality which we all have to develop on a day-to-day basis. When we are fearless, we are able to withstand not just the adversities that life throws us, but we are also able to embrace life as it comes to us. A person who is fearlessness looks forward to challenges, to adversities, because in that moment he knows is an opportunity for him to remain equanimous, to remain firm and face the situation that life is throwing at him. An attitude of fearlessness helps us to not become anxious, to not become worried, to not look upon future with certain anxiety based on our past events. No matter how traumatic our past has been, we look forward to any situation that comes in our lives with that fearlessness attitude. An attitude of fearlessness helps us also to kick out any bad habits that has been troubling us. No matter how many times we have failed in overcoming that habit, an attitude of fearlessness is what helps us to look forward, to take that next step and break any habit. Fearlessness is important because it helps us to look upon future not just with hopes or with our desires, but also with a certain amount of equanimity, a sense of feeling that our life is not just to pursue a path of pleasure, of, of fulfilling the gratification for our senses, but also a fearless person is willing to seek that inner joy, that poise, that peace, and that calmness of life. A fearless person trusts his own inner self and not just what is happening at the level of body and mind. A person who is fearlessness does not worry that if he's going through sickness or if he's going through certain old age changes in the body. A person who is fearlessness does not fear the ultimate change of life, which is death. A person who is fearless does not fear death because he knows that he will survive everything, including death. A person who is fearlessness is one who can withstand all the trials, no matter how magnanimous they seem to be, how tremendous those situations may be, because he has overcome the ultimate fear, which is the fear of death. And it is not that we start out with that kind of thing. It is in our day-to-day life, in the small steps of life, we can start becoming fearless. We can start becoming fearless by realizing that on a moment-to-moment basis, we take that opportunity to uphold our life in such a way that we remain equanimous, we remain positive, we remain cheerful no matter what is happening in our life. We are willing to look upon everyone with love, with positive, and also be able to deal in a way that is required, but yet not harbor any resentment or ill will towards others. A person who is fearless is willing to get up no matter how many times he has failed, and yet remain positive, yet remain cheerful, and yet have that thirsty, that vision that ultimately goodness is what will triumph. A person who is fearlessness is like that light in darkness. A person who is fearless is not just a poetically hoping for goodness, but is willing to do the thing that is necessary to be positive, to change the environment, to be a source of goodness to the world. The most important thing a person who wants to cultivate fearlessness is that in his own life, in his own thoughts, he is positive. In his own life and in his own behavior, he is holding on to that notion that he is beyond the body and mind. He is convinced that there is a deeper self. He is convinced that there is a deeper sense of peace and joy than what life gives him. So he is willing to go through whatever he has to in the life because of his duties. But at the same time, he knows that there is a much more supreme joy, a much more supreme peace, and that is the essence of his own being. He does not have to go outward to look for that because it is right within him. This belief that there is this inner joy, that there is this source of inner happiness, is what keeps him going. So he's no longer caught up with the day-to-day changes, with the day-to-day transactions. He's no longer affected by the changing behavior of people, the disloyalty or the rudeness of certain people around him, because he is poised in his own inner self. He knows that everything that is projected, that is appearing in his day-to-day life, eventually has no consequence because it is just like a dream, and he will remain unaffected by anything that happens. He will remain pure, happy, and joy because that is the essence of his being. Abhaya is the Sanskrit word for fearlessness. And in Abhaya is Ananda, the joy. We have to find that true, lasting, unending joy in fearlessness. Let us cultivate this first and foremost quality of fearlessness, which is extolled in the Gita among all the divine qualities. Om Tat Sat.